All right, guys, let's get this rocking and rolling. So I'm going to be the end buyer. I'll start it off. And I'm just going to need somebody to participate and be a seller for me. So just anybody who's willing to jump up. The ARV would just use a standard of 300,000. And so whoever's the seller, if we're going to do cash or creative, wherever you want to be, we'll go from just know the ARV is around the 300. So you can offer more or less, it's up to you. We'll do 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,500 square feet. So just who's available to be a seller for me?
I'll go for it. I'm feeding my kiddo right now, so if he yells, just ignore that or just hang up on me.
I'll just yell back. No,
there you go.
I'm just playing.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'll do is everybody will go on mute. Sean and I will use our names, and I'll just ring type of thing, and we'll go from there. If you have any like certain scenario that you can overcome, you can bring it up, whatever you really want. You can be hard, you can be easy, you can be a seller, you can be someone who doesn't want to sell, whatever you want to do, just we'll go for it. Okay. Do you want me to get into like a creative finance pitch, or do you want me to keep it cash, or does not matter?
It doesn't matter, whichever way you decide is going to solve my problem.
All right, so I'll just try to solve your problem. Okay.
Cool. Yep.
All right. Ring.
Hello there.
Hey, what's up, Sean? This is Carlos. How you doing, man?
What's up, Carlos? How do I know you, man?
You don't know me, actually. And the reason why I'm giving you a phone call, thank you for your time, first off. The reason why I'm calling 123 ABC Street, I just wanted to see if you ever consider selling that house.
Oh, you're one of those. I get calls like this all day long, man. Where
Yeah, I
you're
can
gonna
imagine,
offer
'cause I
me
call-
like 50 cents on the dollar or something.
Oh, yeah, you get a lot of phone calls already, and people are giving you offers. Sounds like lowball offers.
Yeah, they've definitely been pretty low.
Yeah, I definitely am somebody who's calling, right? I'm definitely an end buyer, calling up on purchasing homes. I do this basically every week, every month. I purchase homes, not really in a rush, but I look at properties like an underwrite. I buy what makes sense for me. So I may or may not be your buyer. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with you being my buyer for sure, as long as that number is right, you know?
Right. Okay. So what's got you considering selling your house right now? I heard you say as long as the number's right. So is it really just because of the number you're looking for, or is there another reason why you would sell?
Yeah, there's a reason why I need to sell. But I don't really know you, so I don't feel comfortable sharing right now. But yeah, I'm definitely I am looking to sell because I need to. So yeah.
I get you, and it's okay. I know a lot of people don't like to disclose it. Here's the reason why I asked you, right? What's the reason I'm selling? Because I'm not the homeowner that's going to live in there. I'm not going to go and pay full price as an investor. It would be foolish for me. I wouldn't make money. So what I'm getting to is, if you were interested in selling it to me, right? A business model like mine, where I purchase properties multiple ways. One way that I prefer to buy them is cash, but I typically look for a fix and flip, right? So something that I can get a little bit of a discount, and then I put money and flip it for a profit. So you were telling me earlier that, for the right price, you would sell it. Would you rather go and list this on the market with a realtor and get that market price? Or are you looking to sell this to a business model like me, where I purchase it in the as-is condition, needs a little bit of work, so I get a little bit of a discount, I put money and flip it for a profit? Who would you rather sell it to?
That's a hard one. Like I said, I need to sell it, and I want to sell it as soon as possible. I know the market's getting I've had some friends who are trying to sell, and their houses are not selling as quick as they thought they would with these interest rates going up. So I'll be honest, that's a little scary to me. But I definitely want to get it sold quicker.
Right. So I understand you want the right number, and if you achieve that right number, you would sell it basically as soon as possible, 14 to 30 days kind of thing.
Yeah, that sounds fair. 14 to 30 days. If it ended up coming that I needed a little extra time, is that something that would be able to be worked out?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to work with
Okay.
you on the time frame. Yeah. So this property, it's 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Is that right?
Yep,
Is, around 1,500 square feet. Does that sound about right?
that's right. And it's got a basement which we turned into an ADU.
Oh, okay, nice. Makes the square footage on that?
Maybe like 500 square feet,
Oh,
something like that.
okay. And it's actively cash flowing?
Uh, it we mostly have been keeping it for guests. Just because it's nice to have your own space, and when the in-laws come in or anything like that, that's nice to have your own space. You can stay
That's
down
very
there in the
nice.
basement.
I got you. So let me ask you this on the condition of the property, right? I'm taking a look. I don't see much photos. When was the last time you renovated it? Maybe in the last 5 years or so?
um, the wife, well, soon to be ex-wife, um,
Oh man.
she yeah, I don't want to get into that, man. She
That's
went
fine.
ahead and made sure we kept the stuff pretty good. Eh, definitely need some paint. We've lived here. We had kids, so they've gone ahead and messed some stuff up. But I've tried to keep it in decent condition. It's not something that like you need to make a huge overhaul on, to be able to move in.
Got you. So it sounds like it's in fair condition, it's maintained, needs a little bit of paint. Let me ask you, what about like the plumbing and the electrical work and the roof? Do I need to do any repairs or change the roof?
Um, no, we've been in here for 5 to 10 years. I forget how long it's been now. Let's just call it 7. Um, I feel like when I bought it before, they said they had replaced the roof like within 2 or 3 years of that. Um, Everything else has been good. We had plumbing problems before, but we had a plumber come out. We fixed that. So yeah, I would say we're in decent condition there.
That sounds great. So I did see some other homes I'm looking at, trying to compare an apple to an apple, and some of these
Okay.
homes, the inside look very nice. With your property, maybe like the tile, the kitchen, the restrooms, do you think I would need to change those? Like, since you bought your house, anywhere from 5 to 10 years ago, like you said, maybe 7 years ago, is it in the original condition from when you purchased it?
Um, yeah, the kitchen is definitely probably in a pretty original condition. The wife wanted to go ahead and spend some more money on that, and I'm sure the kitchen would have looked nice, but we're just not we weren't in the space for that, especially considering we're probably going to be signing those papers soon. So there's just like, no, you can't spend any more of my
I get you. She wanted to drain you. I got you. Hey,
money.
so let me ask you this: if you were to sell this house, cash and everything, what are your goals with the money? You already have another place, or what's the goal here?
um, yeah, I definitely want to go ahead and use this money to get me into a new place, but um, money's not all going to be mine. We've been married for a few years now, almost like 10 or so, 10 to 12. So this house is in both of our names, so we're gonna have to split that check at the end of this, unless there's some way for you to get me all the money somehow.
Yeah, I wish I can give you everything, right? But you guys are on paperwork. um,
Yeah.
so is this even a primary residence? I know you said X. I don't know if you guys are still living together, or one of you guys is at the house. What's going on? Are you guys still living together? Is it primary residence, secondary? What's going on?
This is the primary. We've been staying in separate bedrooms, just trying not to bite each other's heads off. Um, so yeah, we're still in the same house. I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time trying to rent somewhere else. She's a pain in my butt every day, even though I see her, but I'm not gonna waste my money paying for someone else somewhere else when I have a house here.
Yeah, no, I get you. It sounds pretty uncomfortable, doesn't it? It's not probably the most comfortable thing for you to do, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
So you think if I was able to buy your house and get you guys the money that you guys need, that this would help you out?
Um, yeah, if you, like you said, if you can make it happen quickly, that 14 days at the worst, I think it would be 45, just because I want to make sure I have a place to figure out where I'm going to go to next. But I think if you could solve that, then yeah, I'd be open.
Okay. So if I give you 30 to 45 days to move
Yeah.
out, if we come onto an agreement on purchase price, and this is what I'm getting that the house is going to need paint and basically a cosmetic lift. Just put in new tile, kitchen and restrooms. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
And then it sounds like maybe there's a little bit of uncomfortability because you're still with your ex-wife and you guys are living together just in different rooms, right?
Yep.
Got you. Yeah, maybe I could help you out. So knowing that I can, give you the time you need to close, and knowing that I'm gonna have to put in money to get this ready, what can you sell me this property for? What's your asking price?
I feel like I've seen some that are listed, of course, for like 340 or something like that. So that would be nice.
Okay, 340, right? So I'm looking at properties right now that are pretty much similar in the build and
Okay.
layout of yours.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to compare an apple to an apple, right?
Okay.
And I see the homes that are built like yours, but upgraded, they're going for around 300,000. And yours is going to need work, and you're asking $40,000 over the asking price. Just for that alone, I wouldn't be able to be the cash buyer even at the $300,000 price. And the main reason is, as an investor, how would I make money right there? I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. So what could you offer me?
I couldn't offer you close to the 300, 340. A number that I would need to be on, knowing all the rates are up and knowing that I have to do all this work, it would be under 200.
200.
No, under it.
Oh no, but under 200?
Yeah. There's a lot of cost in there. I know that you may not purchase homes to make money on them like I do for work, but there's a lot more cost than just me repairing it. And so for me to make this make sense, I not only have to put in money to repair it, I got to pay a realtor, pay the closing costs, right? Pay all these fees. Then I have to rehab it. So then I got to make payments to a lender for a few months. I mean, taxes, it's just not going to make sense for me to buy it at 300, at 250. None of that's going to make sense for me. And so I would need to be at an offer lower than 200. Would that work for you?
I didn't know it was going to be that low. I know they were offering me like half, but I was just hoping you'd be someone who could offer me a little bit more than all those other people.
So when I do cash, right, I got to buy it where it makes sense. So I'm a cash buyer. So a lot of other people who are offering you even less, it probably makes more sense for me to offer you exactly what they're offering you, half of it, as a cash buyer. So you can kind of understand how we all make money on the cash right now that everybody's offering you already closer to those numbers.
Yeah.
Got you. So here's one thing that I can do is I don't only purchase cash, right? So right now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to rule myself out as a cash buyer unless I can go under 200. So I won't be able to pay you anything over if you are expecting me to pay a little bit more. I just unfortunately can't on that for cash. What I can do is I pay a little bit more than most cash buyers depending on the strategy I use. I've been known to pay more than all cash buyers actually when I do it this way. Now, if I were to come up to your asking price, closer to your asking price, I can't do 340, right? Because you're asking over the market.
Yeah.
I could do 300, but let's say I can come up to like 250 and buy this on terms. Would that be something you'd be willing to work with me on?
250 sounds like a good. Yeah, I would be a little more comfortable with 250 at least.
Okay. So if I was able to give you 250 on terms, would that make sense to you?
Yeah. What is terms? I don't know what that is.
It's pretty simple. So it's like payments over time, kind of like if you are financing a car and you're making payments over time, or do you have a mortgage in place on this property?
Yeah, I think it's like 100, maybe like 80K on it, something like that.
180 or 80 to 100? Yeah.
No, about 100 or 80. So like
Okay.
less than 100.
Okay. So less than 100 grand, right? So what is your monthly payment to your principal, interest, tax, and insurance?
I think it's like 1,000, 1,500, I think.
1,500. Do you know your interest rate?
Um, I don't know my interest rate.
Okay, if there's a way that we can get that so I can see it, but the way it works,
Yeah.
right, is you have $100,000 that you owe to a mortgage, you owe a $1,500 payment. By chance, do you know what the rental rate is in that neighborhood?
I'm pretty sure, especially because I got a 3-2. It's at least like 2,700, if not 3,000. I've um I know there's a few Airbnbs in the area too, and they've been renting out to nurses, and they've been getting like 3,500.
Got you. Okay. So how this works for me to come up on that asking price, right? For me to incentivize the homeowner, for me to pay more than most people, is I make payments over time, and how I make money in this, since it's not on the front end, it's within the monthly cash flow. So knowing you pay 1,500, I'm gonna pay 250 for your house, right? So I take over your $100,000 mortgage and I take over your $1,500 remaining payment, and then I owe you $150,000 of equity. So then I would need to make a payment to you on that over a set period of time. Is that something that you're still willing to do?
Um, yeah, would I be getting any money when we close?
Is there a certain amount of money you do need?
Um, Obviously, I know that but because you're giving me like near my asking price there, I don't want to. I'd feel a little uncomfortable trying to ask for like a big old down payment. But if you could do like, let's say 20K, so I know I don't like my soon to be ex-wife, but I also don't want her to not have anything to to have. So maybe if you could do like 10K a piece.
Okay, so $20,000 down. And then what type of time frame are you willing to work with me on?
Do you know the quickest you would be able to make this happen for us?
No, it's
Just
like
like,
I was gonna make payments to you for a set amount of months, right, over a set amount of years, how
mhm.
long are you willing to basically finance me?
Maybe is 10 years too long? Is that too short? What, like, I don't, how does that normally work? What's the normal that people
Everybody's
give you?
different. Everybody's different, but I'll tell you that I purchase properties, and the ones that I mainly tackle are the ones between 7 to 10 plus years, right? As an investor, I always look to get the longest term, lowest payment, lowest money down. That's me as an investor, right? And here, just to answer that question with the $20,000 down, um, typically, since I'm able to pay more than most cash buyers, I typically don't give a lot of money down. Most homeowners are willing to accept 5 to 10 grand. And the reason why is I get allocated a lot of funds, so I purchase homes with other people's money. But in scenarios where I'm paying more than most people and I have to put $5 or $10,000 down per house, if I have to put $20,000 down right here, it kind of takes away from me buying 2 to 4 more homes. You kind of see what I'm
Mm,
talking about?
I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so in the scenario that I'm giving more, it wouldn't be so smart for me to pay more and then still give a large amount of money down. Would you be open to $10,000 down?
Um, how about just 15K even make sense? Like, is that feasible for you?
So we do 15 and 7,500 for you and then 75 for your wife, your ex-wife.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so we can do $15,000 down and then a 10-year term, right?
yeah.
Okay. And then, so in my scenario, right, I would renovate this and so I can charge the max rent. So now knowing that you have a $1,500 payment, and I can possibly make $27,000 to $3,000 here, I still owe you $135,000 after the close because I would be giving you $15,000 down.
Yeah.
And so I now need to make a payment to you for those 10 years. So I got to add that to the 1,500, right? So then let's just say we can sell this for 3,000 and we can rent this off for 3,000. There's about $1,500 in there that I need to make money and I still owe you a payment. So for right here, you know, what are you open to accepting as a payment for your equity?
So you would be paying my equity plus you would give me like a monthly payment on top of that?
Yeah, so if
Whoa.
you got to see, like, if your house was owned free and clear, then it would be just straight whatever payment I'm giving to you is all you. But 1,500 goes to the person you owe, right? The lender.
Yeah.
So if I just paid them, I give you $15,000 down. There's two scenarios: is either I don't pay you during the term and pay you at the back end, or I still make an incremental payment to your equity. And I'm sure you'd want to go one of those ways, otherwise it wouldn't make sense. How about we do this? Are you open to me taking over that $1,500 payment, and there's $1,500 left of income that's going to come in? Let's split that $750 a piece.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so I'll basically make that $1,500 payment, take over the $750. I mean, I'll pay you $750 for your equity. That's, I mean, $250 a month is what I'll pay you for 10 years. And then the end balance, there's going to be a balance. I'll balloon you at the end of that 10-year term, meaning the last payment I'm going to give you is a one-time check to clear out the remaining balance that I owe to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm open to that.
Okay, great. And do you have any questions for me? Any concerns?
Am I signing a contract today? Am I like locked in? If someone else, you know, gives me something better later today, I'm still open to take that.
You do what you'd like, actually. You know, mine's the last case scenario. If I could buy your house cash at the price I was looking for, I would have done it, but I can't, right? So I'd rather you sell it cash, go list it, rent it, keep it, do whatever you want with it. And if it doesn't make sense for you, I'll pay you what no one else is willing to pay you.
Okay.
So let me go over a couple of things. Typically homeowners, they have some questions. They ask a couple of things is, hey, how am I protected in a scenario? What if you default and don't make a payment, right? Does that come up with you now that I brought it up? Is that a question?
It does, actually. I don't know. The fact that you were willing to pay what I wanted, I got a little blindsided by that. But yeah, how in the world am I protected for that? Like, you could screw up my house, actually, now that I think about it.
Right. Yeah. Just imagine. Right. So here's a good question to always. That's a question that a lot of homeowners ask me, and here's my answer. Right. Since you're willing to work with me on payments, I sign a performance mortgage deed. It's a constant close, and what it states is, in a scenario where I default on payment, meaning let's say I would have gave you $15,000 down, and I paid $2,250 for 6-7 months, and let's say on that 7th month, you know, I get picked up by aliens, I get hit by a car, whatever the scenario is where I can't make a payment, by default on the mortgage, property will be deeded back into your name. And at that time, you would keep the $15,000. You would have kept every payment I gave you, and you would keep the tenant in place, renting it out, or you could just sell it for the maximum price.
Okay.
So it would actually be your best case scenario, would be my worst case scenario. But as an investor, that's why I underwrite right before I sign documents. So I would make sure that I cash flow, which with the numbers we have right here, looks like it's going to cash flow. I just need to run them, make sure that the rental rate is about right. But that's the main concern most homeowners have. And we got you backed up. We protected you. We have a document to protect the homeowner in a scenario where we default. It's kind of like, I used to be in the car business. I was a salesman for a lot of years, and a lot of people, have you ever financed a car before?
Yeah.
A lot of people purchase cars, they get financed. In a scenario where you miss payments, what's going to happen? Somebody's going to repo your car, right? Because though your name's on title of the car, somebody lends you the money for the car. So it's really, it's yours, but you owe somebody. So if you don't make payments, they pick it up. In this scenario,
Okay.
you're protected the same way. It's your house. Though we go on title, your name is going to be on it as a lender, and I'm the borrower. And if I
Okay.
fail to make a payment, the property is yours. You take it back.
Okay. Like, have you ever done this with any other people? Like, how do I know I'm not like your first person and you're still new at this?
Right. No, I am fairly new at this. It's a good question. I'm fairly new. I have really good mentors and really good partners. I purchased 5 homes and I purchased them all this way. I have a lender that it has a testimony. You can talk to him. I bought a house yesterday in Elbow Lake, Minnesota. And cool thing is that homeowner wanted to make some more income, so he joined one of the mentorships I'm in, and I'm coaching him how to get into the business I'm in. But both of those guys are willing to jump on a phone call with you, and I can send you over some credibility about who I am, what my business is, the properties I own. I can put that all together and email it over so you can feel comfortable.
Awesome. Yeah, my email is blank at Gmail.
Sweet. So I'll do that. And then what's your ex-wife's name?
Stephanie.
All right, cool. So I'll put Stephanie on there. I'll put your email, and I'll send over a credibility email, maybe some proof of funds, and then I'll send you over some blank documents, performance mortgage deed, how it protects you. I'll send you over the purchase sale agreement. You can look at it, and I'll send you over my business information. How's that sound?
That sounds good. Thanks, man.
Perfect. Sean, what I'll do is I'll follow up with you a little bit later, okay?
Yep. Thank you.
All right, enjoy yourself.
Click.
Bye. Click. Any feedback, any questions, guys?
Yeah, I didn't. I have to, obviously my feedback is only, I'm glad that you made sure to acknowledge that about like that common questions, because I think when I'm thinking about it, when I'm actually calling someone, sometimes I think about it, but I don't always think about it. But that's for sure. Like, you want to make sure that they know they are protected, because it's just easier to not feel protected in that situation.
No, okay, I got you. Yeah. I typically bring it up when homeowners like the phone call I had before this was a homeowner I was pitching. And same thing, once I was able to give them a closer number, they didn't have as many questions. And I told them if they had any questions and concerns, I say concerns so they can sit and think for a second. And then I brought it up to them. I said, hey, this is the number one question I always get. Probably going to be the number one once I open it up to you. And I do. And so the opportunity right there, he asked me the same question. I don't know who you are. And luckily the scenario with those testimonies, those are real testimonies that my lender, I'm sure I can get my lender and my this yesterday I purchased a home, and the homeowner is willing to give me a testimony too, a video record, so that I can use that for other homeowners, which is so cool because now I can actually have my own testimonies on doing this stuff. And so I told him, hey, if you need to speak to this homeowner I just bought a home from yesterday, I can put you in contact. I'll draft an email. I went over all that. And he was like, yeah. But then, that one was a Morby method. And so I needed a lot more money down on that one. And in this scenario, he wasn't willing to work with me unless he had a large sum. So I told him about the method. I didn't tell him what it was called. I just told him how it works. And for those of you, I'm sure a lot of you probably don't know what the Morby method is or how it works, but in a creative finance deal, you don't really want to go a large amount of money down for the reason that you're most likely going to get a lender in there and you're going to have a couple payments. If you owe equity, if you owe a mortgage and then a lender, you might not cash flow, right? And so when somebody needs so much money down, the Morby method, what it is it's basically getting, I believe, like a conventional loan or something like where you get an actual loan that gives you like 70% of the appraised price. And I believe what happens is you get a gap lender in there for the other 20 or 30%. You close of escrow, you release the gap lender, you pay him his fee, then you open a second position note for the homeowner to carry the remaining equity. But in the scenario, this homeowner wanted around 200 grand, purchase price 425. So I wasn't going to hassle with him because he already told my partner on the deal told me about it. So I went in there just to see if I could make it a deal for what it was. And so went over the whole scenario. And he said he was open to it. And I asked him about how much money down. He said he would only accept 200 or 250. So then I told him, hey, if I were to give you that much money, just know that I can't pay you a payment. And the reason why I can't make the payment to you is because I'm going to have to pull a full loan, right? So I owe somebody a full payment. But in this case, 70% of 425 was like 290. So I told him what I'll do is I'll give you more than you're asking for, but I won't be able to make a payment on our term. So what I'll do is I'll prepay all those payments. I just said it like that. I'll prepay it, right? Prepay all those payments up front. So I'll give you more than you're asking for, but I'm going to have to put you in a position that is a silent position, meaning I can't make a payment to you during the term because I now have to take on that huge payment to the 70% of the loan. Does that make sense? And he goes, yeah. And then I talked about him going in second position because of it, because now somebody else is funding the deal. And he was like, oh, what happens if you default? I went over that. And then he became really open. And he told me I could either sell it this way or there's a home buyer, some business that's doing a 731 flock exchange. And I asked him what that was. And he told me basically a company will come in here and purchase my home, renovate it, add it to their portfolio, and then pay me in shares. I said, oh, like that will be like an investment for you? He said, yeah. And then I laughed and I said, like, not in a bad way. I kind of like laughed a little bit. And I said, oh, great, man. Why don't you just give me your money? Like, why don't I give you the 250 you're looking for, 290, and then you just fund it back to my deals? He asked me, what do you mean? I said, just like them, I do the same thing. I can take the money I give you or any additional money you have, I can get you a double-digit return on it backed up by real estate, and I'll show you how I protect you in there. And I get a third-party servicing company to track everything and disperse all the income going in and out and sending invoices, so you're protected that way. Would you rather just give them the money and probably make less than 10% on your money, or you come up with me and I'll give you 10, 12% on your money? And he was open to that. So now he's setting up a meeting with his attorney. I'm sending him over blank documents, a drafted proposal on like how lenders work with me, and great opportunity for me. But a lot of it came from testimonies. He had a lot of questions, never heard about it. As I start to perform more, I can get in there a little bit more, a little bit better, and just go. So it's working. It's nice.
That's a freaking beast move.
It's cool. I'm getting a little bit stronger as I go. I'm still fairly new, but as I go and I practice, I get a little bit better each day.
Hey, Carlos, what's up, man? It's
Alf, what's cracking, my G?
What's up, man? I'm on the way to work right now, so I'm kind of choppy on the transmission. What do you call it? With that property you were just mentioning, was that the Minnesota one or something totally different?
No, so the Minnesota one I did buy, I am teaching him how to get into investing. He's actually in the powerhouse now. It's funny. I'm not going to tell you who it is though. But the house I was working right now was in Tampa, Florida, came from another sub-2 student, and he wanted like market price. So I just kind of ran through it with him and asked him if he had any offers, and he had offers like $5,000 away, right? And so in my head, I'm like, yeah, he's probably lying because he would have took that $5,000 difference. And so I ended up telling him, why don't you just take that offer? Because my offer isn't going to be better than that on cash. And that's kind of how he's, oh, I don't know. I don't know if he's serious. And so I figured he was lying. And then I rolled into my listing it. Why don't you keep it and rent it? And then how far do you live from it? Does it ever become a headache? All these questions. And then we rolled into that whole scenario that I just broke down. And so this week, I drafted him an email. This week, I'm going to call him back and see if he can sell it to me on a Morby method. That'll be my first time doing that. And then taking his money and then just reinvesting it on like any one of my other deals that I have right now in escrow. And yeah.
All right. Love it, man. So,
yeah, bro, let's do it. Might as well get paid all around, right?
real talk, man. I'm happy to hear that, man. And on that call, that role play, was that like a creative role play, or was it just a little bit of both cash and creative?
The call that I just had with the guy in Tampa?
No, the role play. You guys, because I came in like at 1:30.
Oh yeah, so it went from cash to he wanted asking over the market value, and then I just rolled into you're creative.
Okay, cool.
Wasn't crazy motivated. I mean, he had, you know, an ex-wife. There was the pain, really. It was just dreadful living together. But it's not like, it wasn't like a super distressed person that was going to take a massive discount, right? So that's what creative finance can help people who may not be in massive distress levels, but just kind of have a headache from it and willing to still sell it this way.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
And
Yeah,
were you there? Were you able to hear me how I negotiated the money down kind of thing?
No, I came in like super late, man. I left the
So
house at 1:30.
So Sean brought up, so I just said, you know, payments over time. Before I used to say, you know, some money down, interest, payments over time. I don't throw away, I don't give away money like that anymore. I just say payments over time, kind of like your house, right? How you pay payments until it's paid off. I don't bring up like the down that much anymore or the interest. You see how he ended up bringing, is there going to be any money down? And instead of me saying, yeah, I said, well, what do you need? And then I negotiated it from there. We never brought up interest. This is how you get 0% on all your houses, but never bringing it up. And so like the house that I got, the last 2 houses I got were 0%. That's great because then I'm going to wrap them and then charge like 9% on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I do pitch that. I do pitch that now with the creative. I tell them, you know, I'm make payments over time, you know, and they're like, oh, okay. You know, and of course I referenced my partner, my underwriting partner.
Yeah. So like, you know, one way that I get into more like open creative conversations with the homeowner is, and I believe I said it was Sean, or maybe it was Sean. I think it was with the call earlier. But what I tell people usually that opens their mind, I tell them like, when I talk about the term thing, I tell them, look, the benefit with selling on terms is this, and you might not be aware because you most likely don't buy homes to sell them for your business, right? And so you might not be aware that when you sell this house, you're going to first have to pay taxes on it. So then there goes a large chunk that goes away right away. And then if you're only planning to use a little bit of it and then place the rest in the bank, right now, what are you going to get? Like 0.9 or 1% on your money? But you're also going to lose money because inflation is like over 10%. So your money is devaluing while it's sitting there. If you just did it this way, you would defer taxes. You can manage your money. It'll be an investment. It'll work for you the long run, meaning you get to keep the majority of it this way. And that allowed a lot of people, that little sentence right there allowed a lot of people to be like, oh, wait, I wasn't thinking of it like that. I tell them, look, like, I tell them straight up, look, man, I'm not here to convince you. Like I said, if I could buy cash, I would. Because your whole goal is to even be the guy that rules everything out. I can't buy cash, or otherwise I would. Right. So I tell them, look, I'm your last resort. But now that you're aware of paying taxes and losing money in the bank, you want to keep your money for the long term, this would be the way to go. And then another one is if they're landlords, which this guy was a landlord. I said, you know how you're a landlord and you make money on this? The most successful landlords that I talk to, when they retire as a landlord, they don't exit. They then become a lender. They upgrade themselves into a lending position on the same property that they were managing as a landlord. But now you're no longer having to take care of it as a landlord. You don't even have to go to it. You don't have to answer the nightly calls on a busted toilet. You don't have to deal with the tenant headaches or the property improvements. You just get that passive income. And that right there gets me way deeper into my calls. Wait, what? And then boom, it opens them up. Sometimes your goal is to brainstorm with somebody who doesn't know. Creative finance, a lot of people don't know. So it's not always just about pitching. Sometimes, or most times, it's about bringing the benefits to it. And people will come at you and tell you things like, why don't you just go and get a mortgage on it? Well, I can do this over and over. Why would I want to pull my credit and put a large amount of money down? I can buy a whole bunch of homes this way. So it's not about like you getting stuck. It's about how you respond to it with a little bit of confidence, because it's true. You know, I had the home that I bought in Minnesota yesterday. He said, your proof of funds doesn't say your name on it. And he goes, I want to see your bank statements with your name on it. And the $500 EMD, we can bump that to $5,000. And I said, yeah, I have my own money, but I'm not using my own money on this deal. Ace, he's my lender. He's gonna lend me the money on it. So I believe I don't need to send you my actual bank statements because my bank statements aren't going on to this. The lender's gonna be attached to it, not me. And that $500, basically you can put $1 to get it validated. If I give 5,000, that then doesn't allow me to go buy more homes. And when he ended up signing with me yesterday, he ended up telling me that he liked how I told him that. And he said the only reason he did that is because his son's a realtor and told him that's what he needed to do. And I'd see like, so the good thing is I negotiated it by myself. You can still stand firm and respond with the counter and still get it done.
That's what's up, man. You sound like he was trying to game you up too, man.
Yeah, he was trying to game me up, but instead we had a long conversation and he was like, you just schooled me. I'm like 40 years older than you. I said, man, you learn every day. Don't worry.
That's what's up, man.
So let's
Dude,
do
you
this.
know what?
What's
Dude,
up?
you know that I stayed at Airbnb, you know, when I went over to Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
So the owner is looking to liquidate that asset. And he said he had Henry, that guy Henry Washington, the one I'm under the mentorship in. He said he had him come over and possibly give him an offer. I was like, hey man, you know, if that doesn't go through, I got a backup offer for you. He's like, yeah, that's no problem. So I'm just waiting in the pipeline, you know, with that. That value it's really there, dude, in that market.
That's fire. I'd love to get into it. I'd love to get into more Airbnbs or short-term rentals.
Right. And dude, that street that it's on, it's right by the university, dude. And it's like, it's crazy, bro. So, you know, I told him just keep me in mind. He's all the way into Mexico, so he wants to retire in Mexico. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, just keep me in the pipeline.
Cool. Good. Yeah. Let me know. We'll set something up.
Hell yeah.
Let's get another role play in here. So does anybody have any other questions on that? Any feedback, or do we roll into another role play?
Yeah. Hey, Carlos, real quick, it's Dan. How's it going, man?
What's cracking, G? How are you?
Hey, in regards to that down payment, say he comes out something like $30,000-$40,000. What do you respond to that? And if he's like firm with that number? So
I would respond the same way how I did with this guy. And so you also have to know like what kind of strategies you can do when you put that much money down. Because I have a scenario where
Right.
I bought a home for 80 grand and I'm putting like 50 grand down on it. Right. So before I didn't think that was going to be a good deal as a sub-2 deal, but one of my mentors he's my partner on the deal. He's showing me how we are going to make money by putting a little bit of money into it, selling it for more, asking for money down on a wrap, and then selling the note behind it. So it's a little bit more creative because it has like an additional strategy in there where we write up notes and then we sell the notes and exit completely from the property. So we'll make money up front and on the back end, but we'll do it within like a 2 to 3 month period. And it's new to me, so I don't really know all of it, so I'm learning it, which is great for me. But in the scenario when they asked for more money, the number one thing you want to do is learn to get better at negotiating, right? So when there's like, hey, I need like 80 grand down, being transparent with the seller works with me a lot, right? Because I have to let them know how I make money. Hey, listen, if I'm going to pay you more than most people, I'm already doing more than most people. And so if I have to give a large amount of money down, I can't first pay that price and then give you this large amount of money down. And another reason why is I'm going to have to borrow that money and make a payment to that every month as well. And remember when I said that I have to make money in between the cash flow for this to make sense? That's my incentive. I'm paying you more, right? So you just negotiate with, remember that anything could be negotiable. Just learn to, when you do creative deals, when you get into it, you saw how I brainstormed a lot. Well, how much money can you give me? Well, how much are you open to taking? It's a brainstorm, really. But we hash it out. You hash it out, and it goes like that. With Sean, I've had the creative finance deal I closed in Minnesota was like, it was almost a one and done deal. One phone call, I went in there, I got everything I needed. He asked for 50 grand down and wouldn't take less. And I didn't think it was going to be a deal. But in my head, I knew that somebody I could bring it to. And I said, if I was able to do this, would this work? He said, yeah. I said, before I agree with you, let me call my mentor. He sees things that I can't see in the mirror. He's more experienced. Let me go and just show this to him. And my partner was like, yeah, we can still do it. And I'll show you how it goes. We're going to do it this way. He broke it down to me. And I was like, all right, fuck it. We can do it. Let's go and do it. I call him back and said, let's do this. I call him back and said, let's do this. I'm gonna draft you up the documents and send them over.
Nice.
And, yeah.
Okay.
And now that guy's in the powerhouse. He's willing to do a testimony for me, and now he's gonna get involved learning how to invest in real estate.
Nice, man. All right. Awesome.
I even told him exactly how I was gonna make money on him. I said, listen, like, I didn't see your deal to be a great deal, honestly, but I have great mentors. And then I told him how I'm going to make money on it. I told him exactly how I broke down the strategy on how I'm going to make money. And he was like, wow, I wish I could do something like that. And I said, you can. And then I just told him, look, what are you doing now? And he just told me, he kind of broke down his life and how crappy it's been and how he's been in sales for a lot of years. And then I just told him, man, like, if you're looking, I could take some of your money and fund my own deal and automatically start getting you an interest-only payment on that. And then I can show you how to make money from your house, man. I don't even move. I live in Palm Springs. And I was like, I bought 4 homes in less than 20 days sitting on my computer.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
Ever since I became an end buyer, guys, and I'll teach you everything that as I go, right? As I learn, because I'm not the best. I'm only 6 months in, I'm learning. But when I became an end buyer, it became game over to me, because you know that you're not alone. You guys all are in mentorships everywhere. And so you guys already know you guys can lean on everybody. And so I've just learned to connect people to the deal that know how to do the part that I don't, and then partner up with them. And so, like, imagine this. Imagine I knew how to do things that you didn't, and you worked the whole deal. And you just knew that you could lock it up, but you didn't know how to perform on it. Get a lender in there. What's the next step if it needs construction, and what's all this paperwork? Exactly. You don't know that part, right? Imagine you lock up this deal, could be a good deal. You come to me that I do this all day, every day. So all I got to do is just answer phone calls or answer your phone call and walk you through the next step. You were to say, hey, Carlos, I got this deal. Looks like it's going to be a good deal. It's almost locked up. If I lock it up, do you mind if I give you partnership on it? And I'm going to learn on this. So I don't want you to do a lot of legwork because I know that you're busy. But if I just called you or text you, what's the next step? Can you guide me? And that's how I got into all my homes. I took one guy, I took 2 people. I took two guys, and that's how I started performing on the first 2 homes that I purchased. So I got an Airbnb arbitrage. That was more of an accident. I was boots on the ground for a sub 2 student, and I wasn't going to do it, but I did it for the reason that she was sub 2. I did it 4 weeks in a row, drove 45 minutes out of my way. On the 4th one, I ended up personally closing it, and she gave me partnership on the deal because I did that. So that was the start to me. Now her name's Jada Thiel, I think, in her last name's Thiel or something like that. She's in sub 2. Okay. And she gave me the opportunity, and from there I was like, hell yeah, that's a home run of an Airbnb. And you know what? I want to start buying. So I started just looking at it more as a buyer. And from there, I started to put out there that I'm wanting to buy. And then instantly people started sending me leads as like, hey, I can't close this, but are you down to close it and, wholesale it with me or buy it? And I did that. And once I saw it like that, it became easier. How do I perform on the phone? And then boom, July 3rd, I closed the deal. July 4th, I got a deal. And then Sunday and Monday, I got a deal. I'm working like 6 of them right now. I'm even working like a studio right now. It's a 3-bedroom home that a rapper turned into a full-on like strip club bar and like a personal studio inside. Yeah, it's bad, bro. I'm working it right now. But that's kind of my journey. Once I got into looking at it as an end buyer, knowing that I'm not alone, because I don't know how to do everything right now. The call before this, I was with my partner because we have 4 houses together. And I'm like, okay, so on this house in Georgia, we have this. We just deposited the EMD. What's the next step? I know that we need to fix the ceiling. Who do I call? Do I call like a construction company just to walk the property and give me a quote? Yeah. So stuff like that. Instead of me being a baby and hold my hand, I'm like, hey, what's the next step here? Since we're doing this virtual, since we're not there, how do we do this? He goes, first we need a lockbox. Who's gonna do that? I don't know, find boots on the ground. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna call the homeowner and say if he can go buy a lockbox, and then if he can just put it there, we reimburse him. And that's what happened, right? So now I'm learning the next steps, and all I'm doing is calling this gentleman named Brad Young, and he's just like, cool, do this, do that, hang up the phone, and then I update him. We're done with this one. We have 3 others in escrows. We need to drop the EMD on this one. I need to get an attorney right here. And so that's where I'm at. I'm now trying to manage 5 homes for the first time. And so right now I'm just doing role play. I'm only calling other people's hot leads like your guys is. And now I'm just trying to manage properties right now because that's where I'm new at, learning how to do all the paperwork. Got a couple TCs, got my first 2 lenders, and I'm new to it. So I'm literally learning how to propose, how to make a little bit of mistakes and asking for lending and whatnot. So it's new to me, but I'm not alone. I'm performing that way.
No, I appreciate that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, John, to answer your question, Carlos, how are you getting your leads? So I brand myself, right? Like I put myself out there a lot over and over and over and tell people that I can do acquisitions. And then I put it in a lot of Facebook groups over and over and over, like you're a commercial. Not everybody's going to see you. The algorithm is, if you're jumping a Facebook page and you post for the first time, you're not going to be seen, or maybe 3 or 5 times later, you won't really be too active. So you want to repeat the action daily for like a month or 2 straight, 90 days or something. It's anything you do has to take time, and you build it over time. I built my whole business for free. I mean, I would have done it if I had extra income, but I didn't, unfortunately. But I built my entire business for free. And it came from the first few people who gave me deals. And I closed deals and I made like 10 grand on each of them. That was enough for a mentorship. And so I had this Facebook group called The Powerhouse. I already had it before I jumped into real estate because I started becoming this optimistic, positive individual and just kind of wanted to put like a little like accountability group together. I didn't really take action on it. Jump into real estate this year. And I realized, you know what, I closed my first deal on the first phone call, closed my second deal, and within like the second week, I netted my friend 100 grand. I got 20% of that. I made 20 G's. I knew that this wasn't hard for me. I posted that everywhere that I can close. I recently closed. Let me close your deals. Did that for about a month. So from February to March, there wasn't really too much. But when March came in, it came in hardcore. And so me seeing how to leverage myself, like Pace leveraged himself by having this community and everybody bringing him deals besides all the deals he has, and he knows how to close and he knows how to do so many things, and so many people bring him things. I decided, you know what, I'm going to bring more value. And so I started asking people, hey, instead of just sending me your lead, it's just like, I don't mind closing your deal. I'll definitely eat every deal, but that's only as good as me feeding you a fish, so then you can only eat for the day type of thing. And I want to bring more value. So how about you guys come in here and I coach you guys on how to do the closing, your acquisitions. I'll walk through the closes, and I can even throw you on like the 3-way with the homeowner and walk you through how we do this. So then I can eventually show you how to fish, and you can fish for a lifetime. Would you like to do that? I could bring that type of value. And we went from like, I don't know, 3 to 5 people. And we have like 500 people now in the Facebook group, and not everybody makes it all at the right time. But I really built my whole business off of bringing value. I can close deals. I let people know who I was in every market. This is what I do. Send me your leads. And every single day, I get a whole bunch of leads. And all my deals I've gotten from everybody else. All TTP students. I've closed with 3 TTP students. Like 3 of them came out on podcast. I told Brent Daniels I'm coming out next. I already crushed it. And same thing with Pace. Like now I'm buying sub 2 students deals. I'm locking up sub 2 students deals they couldn't lock up, and then just paying them and being the end buyer. So after last night, after I started posting in TTP and Astro Flipping, after yesterday's Zoom or Google Meet, we had like, I don't know, 18, 20 people. Everybody committed their deals to me right after that. And I don't ask people in return to give me your deals. I don't ask for favors. I just understand that if I can bring more value in the marketplace that I'm currently in, that eventually I'll get overpaid in the same place that I'm underpaid. And that's what I do. I just try to get as good as I can on the phone. I learn as I go. I take action, and I just kick ass. And now I built a whole business. I have like 4 deals that I bought this month. I have like 7 or 8 almost closed in the pipeline. And now I've learned to create a business using no money out of my pocket. And that's where I'm at right now. Let's get in it. Let's get
Okay,
another
so-
role play in there. All right, did somebody say something? All right, guess not. So let's get, does anybody open to being an end buyer in here? Remember guys, the whole goal is to participate and to practice so then we can increase on our skills. And if you feel a little bit nervous, it's okay, because this is the actual place for you to feel a little bit jittery, feel a little bit nervous. When you fall, we'll catch you here. But I know that I want to encourage you guys to get on and put some practice in so that we can improve.
Hey, Carlos. I am walking in right now to get a haircut, and my phone's about to die. I'm gonna have to leave. How long does this call go? Because I'll jump back on after I'm done.
Another hour, but this is the first time we're recording it, so you guys are
Okay.
good.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, I gotta go. I'll jump back on whenever I'm done.
Okay, no problem. And yeah, Sam, everything's in creative finance. All the questions.
Creative finance. Okay, awesome.
All right, brother. You enjoy yourself. Have a good haircut. And then
Thank you, man. I'll talk to you later.
yeah, later, man. So Bailey, all of this is creative financing that's taught in sub 2. All of that is taught in sub 2, yes. And all the Zooms we get on, all the creative stuff we get into, it will come from once somebody agrees to, yeah, I'm open to terms. Can you go ahead and tell me what your terms are? That's when you're like, wait, I learned how to pitch it. I learned how to overcome it. I don't know how to literally look at it as the end buyer and know how to write the terms though. And when you go and then ask somebody else like myself or somebody else who's performing on deals, hey, how do you structure this deal? How would you structure it? Once I explain how I would try to make money off of it, the light bulb will turn on for you. And more times you get into people saying yes on creative finance, the more and more you start to underwrite the deal and see how it's gonna cash flow, the light bulbs start to turn on. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, I can put you in a position where I don't even have to pay you. Oh, okay. Well, I can make a less than payment, or I can pay less than what your principal, interest, tax, and insurance is, and I can have you carry the difference for X amount of months, and then I reimburse you. There's so many strategies in here that you'll learn every day on the strategy. Really, it's just whenever it makes sense, you can write in there. You can trade a car in there for part of the house. It's really like that. That's how crazy it is.
But everything is taught in the modules,
No, not all in the modules. It's in the live Zooms. The modules will tell you, kind of like how TTP, how it breaks down the basics.
right.
It'll break down the basics of everything. I'll tell you, I didn't really study any of the videos. I just learned everything from taking action and getting in the actual Zooms. Like, so the difference is with TTP, because I'm both TTP and sub 2, there's no difference really. Like, there's no brainer in which one's better. TTP is great, really good wholesaling strategy. I love Brent Daniels and talk to people, but there is no comparison with sub 2. The amount of information you get on a weekly basis is ridiculous. It's all recorded, but the live Zooms that we're on every day, that's where all the stuff Pace teaches us is the shit that like Grant Cardone, Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, what they teach, that they charge $50,000 or $25,000 an hour or whatever some of these people are paying them. He does it for the same price as your mentorship price, and he gives it to you for free after. And every day, it's awesome, bro.
When are the Zoom meetings for his group? Every single day, Monday through Friday, at what time?
They're all different. So they have daily dials, which is like this, and then they have nightly dials, which is live seller calls, Monday through Friday. They're about 3 hours a piece, so they're real early in the morning, and then around this time, 2:30 or 3, I think, is when they start doing the live seller calls. Give me 1 second. Hey guys, Malik, come here. Malik. Sorry. So Pace will do the Sunday service, which is on Sunday evenings, and that one's open to YouTube, meaning open to anybody. And then Monday night he has the hotline with Brent Daniels and Jamil. That one's open. I think he's opened up Gator and the Elephant Challenge to people, but the sub 2 students have all the Q&As, all the different strategies that we break down. Give me 1 second. Come on, stop it. Got a lot of French bulldogs. Sorry. But yeah, so we have a lot of Zooms for free that Pace gives out, and then we have all the like the super juicy shit, all the real Q&As and everything else we break up is in our breakdown. It's all in our actual sub 2, so you have to be a part of sub 2.
Where can I find the information for sub 2, the group? How many people are in that group compared
So
to
in the actual sub 2 mentorship, there's like 5,000 plus people. And when I joined in January, the last day, there's like 3,900. Now you can jump into the creative finance group with Pace Morby. That's what it's called, creative finance with Pace Morby. So add that one right now. That one's free. There's like 50,000 people on that one. And it's a lot of us sub 2 students and everybody else who's not sub 2 learning a lot of free game in there, partnering up with sub 2 students. And in here in the powerhouse, you guys are gonna learn a lot of the same stuff that I've learned. So like a lot of the shit that I'm gonna be speaking about is gonna be creative finance. Even we can go over how to find lenders. There's a lender that was in here the entire time we were role playing. He lent me $80,000 to fund my Airbnb in Northern California. So he just left a little bit early. He had to do some stuff, but I can show you how to get lenders and how to do everything, you know?
Right.
Or at least for what I've learned, right? I'm not like a guru or anything or a mogul.
How much is the sub 2 mentorship?
No, I think it's changed. I don't know, and I know that I don't really disclose that for certain purposes. So I can send you over to the my recruiter. You can work out. 1 second.
Yeah, I don't know if we can disclose that. I actually just joined less than a month ago. And just to keep it real, I don't know if there is any rules about disclosing it, but I will tell you that they will go ahead and, if for whatever reason you wanted to work out like a payment plan thing, I think I actually am doing a payment plan that I just don't remember if it's paid over 3 months or paid over a few months until I get it completely paid off. But I'm sure Carlos will hook you up with someone who can have like more information.
Yeah, somebody send me that and I'll look into it.
So yeah, you can do like a payment plan. I think I've heard a lot of different stuff, right? So I'm not just disclose exactly what's what, but I just know that for me it was more than the TTP, just by a little bit. It was more than the TTP mentorship, but it's been the best decision, and it's like fucking schooled everybody else's mentorship. I had who's here earlier? Was it Sam? Sam, was it you or somebody else yesterday? Told me that.
It was Samuel. Me and Samuel are in TTP, but like you said, I'm trying to. I want to start holding some of these deals, for myself.
Okay, so get in here more. Get it. You know how you're gonna get involved by holding more and learning is literally partnering up with other sub 2 students, bringing value, right? Like it doesn't have to be like you have to know more, but if you have a hot lead, like not a cold lead, right? You have a hot lead that you've been working and need a little bit of help, you present that to a sub 2 student and it's game time for us. They'll walk you through it. Everybody's a little bit different. I'm open to teaching everything. Some people are going to be the guy who's just going to feed you the fish and not show you how to fish. I'm here to show people how to fish, but there's a lot of people that will show you how to fish as well. Put yourself in proximity with sub 2 students, and that's how you learn the game for free.
Okay. Yeah, well, send me over some information or somebody I can get in touch with about that.
Shoot me a text and I'll send you over my recruiters. Yeah, because I think it was Samuel in TTP yesterday. He told me, he goes, bro, I'm in TTP. I pay for their mentorship, and I was like on all their calls, those 23 calls or whatever. And he goes, in the hour and a half of me spitting game, he learned more information than what he paid for and all those calls. And that isn't because I'm also TTP, but I learned what I learned from Ace and the group. It's a different game.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was me. I said that.
It was you, right?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, I told you that yesterday.
That shit
It's
was
true.
awesome for me to hear. That's cool. I love that. But that's crazy because I don't pay attention to all that because I repeat the same shit to a lot of people in the powerhouse. So to me, I don't know exactly how much I'm growing or progressing, you know? So for Samuel to say that I'm in TTP and he's in TTP, and for him to say that, I love what I'm doing. That's awesome for me. It's awesome for him.
Well, I mean, I like what you're doing. You said you started in January. I started, I mean, almost the middle of March. I started in TTP. So, yeah, no, I'm just trying to open it up for more options. You know what I mean? I think I watched a video and Pace said, wholesalers are killing a lot of deals. Just because you can't get to the price where you can wholesale it, that doesn't mean that it's not a deal.
Yeah, so I can even teach you how to be a creative wholesaler, right? A very advanced one, because as a sub-2 student, there are several strategies on how to close a deal, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you got to perform on it as the end buyer. You can wholesale the strategy. You can wholesale a sub-2, a
Yeah.
seller finance, novation, lease option, all that stuff, a wrap, you can wholesale it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's kind of my problem was I talk to people who do want to sell and they'll sell at a discount, but it's not, half off. It's not 50 cents on the dollar. And if I'm able to sell those deals, do something creative and sell that package, that'd be a game changer for me.
Yeah, man, I don't mind helping you guys out, and I'll definitely be the end buyer to your guys' deals as you guys learn on the way. As
Hello?
I learn, I'll teach you, but I don't know everything, but I'm willing to teach you at least the stuff that you need to pitch, to overcome, lock up a creative deal, and I'd be your end buyer. I'll be even the guy to bring the contract to the table to use, since I'll be the real end buyer. So I'd be more comfortable using the contracts that Pace has drafted for us. But yeah, I'd love to buy the deals that you guys have on Creative Finance and pay you guys a wholesale fee. I just bought my first sub-2 deal that I bought from somebody else. I usually lock them up and buy them. I paid the sub-2 student $12,000 on the deal. And so you guys can still make fees. I know this other deal that I'm working, there's a $20,000 assignment fee in there. And I can still pay it because it's going to make sense. So just depending on the deal, you can still make large spreads on them, and you have way more opportunity to close a deal because you can go in there and actually do it. All right, let's so the Q&A. Let's get one more person to get in there. Does one of you guys want to be an end buyer?
I'll take it if no one else will.
I was about to shoot your name out there anyways.
Hey man, that works
Cool.
for
So
me.
just remember, guys, too, like, the whole goal, like somebody had hit me up and said a lot of people don't like to go onto the nightly dial for the fact that it's recorded and they don't want to fuck up. Well, the thing is with that mindset, it's hard for you to grow because you stay in a habit of letting that anxiety or fear of failure never allowing you to move forward. So you create a habit of every time uncomfortability comes into place for you to walk away back to a comfortable place. That's a habit that your subconscious mind has created. Right here, I'm trying to get your mindset right. And since we're not at 100 people on the Zooms just yet, there's no reason to feel so shy, because I mean, I understand you're going to feel shy. It's a habit that's been created. That right here is the place for you to feel shy, for you to fall on your face, for you to fail, because we're the group that's actually going to be supportive and catch you, not laugh at you. And as you build this new habit of walking through the fear, you now create this new habit of wanting to do it every time the uncomfortability comes up again. That makes sense. And so that's why I urge and recommend, let's get some practice. Let's not just listen. It's almost like reading a book and not doing the actions that the book tells you. You could have left the book and never wasted 5-6 hours on the book because you're never going to do anything with it. And what you don't use, you lose. And then same scenario, a lot of people will jump on role play and never get a lot better for the fact that they just sit and listen. It's great to listen. I'm not saying that you guys aren't saying this on your guys' own phone calls. And I know a lot of you guys are at work and just hearing, but I'd like more participation so we can see where you guys are and actually improve. And I don't mind doing some one-on-ones with you guys too. Just want to be open to you guys. All right, Sean. So we'll do this. I'll just be I'll be a light seller. We'll do cash, and ARV is 300,000, and we'll just go from there. Our names are the same. So
Cool. You got it. Ring ring.
hey, what's up, man?
Hey man, this is Sean with A1 Property Investments. How are you doing today, man?
What's cracking, Sean? I'm good, man. I'm a little bit busy, but how's everything?
Okay, you got a few minutes? I heard your property was actually referred to me by a referral company that I utilized. They said you were interested in selling your house. Is that correct?
I mean, I don't have a for sale sign open, and I haven't really talked to anybody, but I do have people calling me in and kind of like yourself and offering me some lowball offers.
Okay, yeah, that's no problem, man. So you are actually at least interested in selling.
Yeah, I mean, I can sell it. I'm open to it now. It's now that, so many people are calling in. I've thought about it now.
Okay, cool, man. So you got about maybe like, let's just call it 10 minutes at the most to see if I'm the right buyer for you.
Sure.
Cool. All right. So I just want to go ahead and set the expectations, man. By the end of this call, we're going to know if I'm going to have an offer for you, or an offer with an approval, or a denial with a reason. Does that sound good to you?
That's fine.
Okay, awesome. So here we go, man. So go ahead and tell me about the house. Why do you think people have been calling you about it?
I don't know why they're calling. I just know that a lot of people have my number now and they're calling to sell it. It's rented out right now. I live a couple hours away from it.
Okay. How long you had the property for?
For like 8 years now.
Okay. And you're a few hours away from it.
Yeah.
Okay. How are those renters treating you, man? Like people got a little crazy during COVID. Were they paying all during that time?
They're paying, yeah. They're a little bit late most of the time. They're late right now as far as they haven't made a payment. And so I think they're gonna roll into the second month, no payment.
No payment?
Yeah, but like I said, a little tough.
Man, yeah, I get it, man. Well, I'm an investor, like I said. So we had a few people who did that too. How's that making you feel, man?
Well, I mean, I don't like having to lose money in this scenario. I got to pay money out of my pocket. I have a little bit of mortgage left, nothing too crazy, but I still got to pay that out of my pocket. I don't like to go negative.
Okay. Have you still been able to make sure to make that payment? You're not in foreclosure or anything, right?
No, I'm not in foreclosure, and I still make that payment.
Good, man. Yeah, I know that's got to be a hassle having to come out of your own pocket. We buy these properties with the expectation that we're gonna pay up, but sometimes they don't. So I feel your pain, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So tell me a little more about the house. The information I found showed it was like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Looks like it's a pretty good sized house. And you said you've had it for about 8 years with some tenants in it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So when was the last time you got to go on by there?
Probably like in the beginning of the year, I did some painting. And then that's that. I usually had to have good conversations and with the tenant, but now it's like kind of a little bit sour, so they're not really responding to me at the moment.
I get that, man.
I haven't seen it since the beginning of the year.
So you've actually been managing this yourself too.
Yeah.
You're a hustler, man. I respect that.
Got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do. I get it. So you said you got some paint in it. How's the rest of the house? Everything pretty new? Have you done any like renovations recently?
When I bought it, everything is still the same. I just painted it for the first time in January.
Okay. and no, they haven't complained to you about any issues about like holes in the walls and I don't know, whatever, roaches, anything like that?
No, I mean, I know that to bring it up to market, you have to put some money into it, but
Yeah, man.
there's no repairs as far as like electrical or roof work, plumbing work, all that's good. It's just gonna need like some cosmetic lift up.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. So let's go ahead and say I were able to make you an offer that you were comfortable with. How soon would you be looking to sell your property over here?
I mean, you'd have to take it with tenants in place, but I would sell it as soon as possible. I'd also
You'd
let
sell-
them know, but I wouldn't mind it. You would just have to
Okay.
deal with it.
That's okay. I get it. You know, like I do want that would be something that I would want to work out with you. But yeah, if it's something that fits kind of our buy box, I'm definitely open on that. So what are you looking for the property? You know, just with the knowledge that we are going to go ahead and we'll take it with tenants in place right there, the exact condition as is. What's the number you have in mind?
Well, I know that it needs a little bit of work, but
Yeah.
you have a headache. So I was looking at properties. My neighbor sold his for like 280. I saw a different neighbor that sold it around 300, and I know that I'm not going to ask that. So I'll probably take like 240.
240.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said, like you said, you're coming up with that because it sounds like your neighbors were either like listening or sold for that, maybe that 280, 300, but we know that your house is in that exact condition. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll give I understand the game just a little bit and give you guys a little break. And so I know that their house that were sold for the 290 price 300, they already look ready to go. Mine has a tenant and it's not like up to standard, ready to go.
Okay. Okay. So 240. Is there any wiggle room in that?
What are you looking for?
You know, I just want to make sure we have it all mapped out because, like I said, we'd go ahead and we'd take it as is, keeping those tenants in place. They'd become my problem. They'd be no longer yours. So you wouldn't have to struggle with that. You know, like I said, we can close as soon as possible. And I want this to be something that's a win-win solution for both of us. So just with that in mind, I wanted to figure out, you know, we also are getting the cash directly to you, so you don't have to worry about those realtor commissions. So just with all of that in mind, I just wanted to see, you know, if you feel like there would be any wiggle room in that 240.
Well, I'm cool at 240. Is there a number that you're looking to buy it for? So I know that you haven't given me an offer just yet. So I mean, I know that you're saying wiggle room at my 240, but that's the number that I want to take. I don't really want to lower that number.
Okay. Yeah. I know you said 240's your number. Would you be willing to do maybe like 210? We'd close as soon as possible. So if you say, hey, 10 days, like I said, we'll make that 10 days happen with the tenants in place, with taking up all the renovations ourselves. Just because, like you said, you've been in the game, so you understand, you know, like our plan is to get those tenants out, go ahead and do that renovation, and then go ahead and try to figure out an end plan, whether that is completely flip it or get some new renters in it afterwards.
Got
So,
you. Well, I'd only go if you meet me in the middle, that'd be the only way that this would work for me. So like at 225 and
225.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and talk to my partner. I don't make the final decisions on this, man. I want to go ahead and make sure I'm not screwing up and make sure that we can come through on this. So what time tomorrow can you go ahead and talk? Can you do 10 or 12?
I could do either, but I remember on the beginning of the call, you said at the end of the call, you would tell me no, or you would tell me you got it, but I got accepted and approved.
Yeah. So let me see if I can go ahead and squeeze them in, and go ahead and ask our underwriters right there too. So give me 1 second, okay?
Okay.
I'm not going to waste all of our time right here in my own process. I actually put them on hold for 3 minutes, to try to let them see if they end up starting to talk about anything. But I would go ahead and come on back now. So my underwriters are going ahead and saying, like that I was actually overestimating, and they wouldn't be able to do any greater than about 200. I want to work with you because I know that those tenants are being a pain in the butt. But it doesn't seem like they want to go ahead and do any higher than 200 right there.
Okay, yeah, it's not gonna work for me.
Okay, man. That's not a problem. Like I said, we would have either approval with a reason, approval with that price, or denial with that reason. So if for whatever reason, they keep trying to kick your butt, man, we'll be here. I do want to be honest. I can't promise that offer will still stand, but you can go ahead and check back with us, man.
Sounds good. Thanks, man.
Cool. Thanks.
Bye.
Cool. Go for it. What do you got?
Cool. Does anybody have any feedback?
Would you have just taken the 225 there? Like, I don't know. I guess I was just getting greedy or something.
No, but I think what would have helped you is walking
Yeah.
yourself through closing. Have you walked through closes before?
No.
Okay, so I can kind of tell when people have not learned how to walk through a close, because they'll get to a point of agreement and then they kind of just don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
And so you referred to, I'm gonna call my lender. The closing
Yeah.
is simple. All it is just, okay, so I'll go ahead and draft this up and send it to you. Is that gonna work? Closing is literally just like after they agree, it just means, okay, sign the paperwork then. That's closing means, just drafting it and putting it on paper. That's all it means, is coming to an agreement, closing up this deal. And so a lot of people get stuck on what's the next step, and it's really like, okay, well, since that number is going to work, what I'll do is I'll send you over the document with your email, and you walk through that close, right? Does anybody want to give him any feedback before I do? Anything he could have done differently or added? So I think you did good, man. Like you're good at talking. And I think that maybe if you had a pen and a pad, do you use a pen and a pad when you negotiate or no?
I haven't had any deals. I've gone ahead and I've cold called for some people. But yeah, I've never been able to be there on the end part where we're like making the offer.
Okay.
And I don't normally use a pen and pad.
So one thing that's good to have a pen and pad, because I even use it even while I role play.
Okay.
And why? Because I create a habit of doing it every time. And I do it every time now because the habit's there. I don't know how to now call without having my pen and pad. The reason why is on there, I just put MTCP in a line, right? Motivation, timeline, condition, price. So
Okay, yeah.
Make sure that I get those. But then I'm able to write anything that's going on. So then I can reference to it, because a lot of it is sometimes just repeating the story that I gave. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Like the last one, I was like, oh, I got you. You have an ex-wife, right? Like how your story was, how I repeated a lot of it. I would have forgot a lot of it. I mean, I'm
Yes.
already seasoned. I would have remembered a lot, but this allows me to make sure that I'm looking at things right.
Okay.
And so I think that maybe finding more of the motivation, you touched a little bit on it. Like, you just asked if I was missing payments, but a good question to ask when somebody's not making payments is, Gotcha. So what's your goal here? You trying to keep it or sell it? Well, I want to keep it. Okay. If they say, yeah, I want to keep it, one thing that I've heard that I love using now is, got you, is do you think this scenario is ever going to get any better?
Oh, okay.
And it's a great one because it makes them think, well, you know what? Shit, I don't know. Is somebody else going to come and rent this out and do the same to me? And so he puts
Yeah.
that in their head, right? So I think touching more on the motivation would have touched it up. The condition you asked me about, I gave you as much as I knew.
Yeah.
And then the price, once I give you a price, you in your head, you should already know what number is going to work for you. So at the entire time as we're talking, on a real call, you should be comping as we're talking, right? And as you comp and you start to find out 300,000 is the ARV, you start factoring, oh, okay, I'm going to need cosmetic. Oh, there's a tenant in there. So one thing that I always do is I tell them, okay, cool. Have you started the eviction process? No. Can you start that eviction process so I can buy it after they're evicted? Because it's easier for you to sell it, or if you're going to be the end buyer, to keep it when it's already evicted. Otherwise,
Okay.
you want a massive discount, because how I respond to it is I don't want to have to deal with a non-paying tenant, because then I gotta, I'm gonna lose money. I got a headache that I'm inheriting, and I might be inheriting a lawsuit. I'm gonna have to pay money to get this guy out. So you got a massive discount. You could have used all that and got a way deeper of a discount.
Okay.
Yeah, because no matter what, the end buyer, you always have to remember, as a wholesaler or somebody who's a creative finance guy that's kind of wholesale to an end buyer, the cost, right? It's not just the repair costs plus the assignment fee, right? There's closing costs for the end buyer. There's repair costs. There's holding costs. If it takes him 3 months to renovate it, hard money lender, he's going to have to pay, whatever interest rate he's going to have to pay on. So he's going to have to pay a large sum of money every month for those. And a lot of wholesalers don't ever factor that in. And that's why they might lock up deals, but never get them assigned. And it's because the fact that they're not getting any deals with meat on the bone. So eventually the wholesaler will then lose a lot of its buyers or other dispo managers because of the credibility of what they have. They don't know how to lock up the deal. And then they mess up the marketplace. And that's why wholesalers have bad names. I'm a wholesaler too. I just do it properly. I do it ethical. I make sure that the numbers make sense before I lock it up. And so when I see others who send me deals, because I also do dispo, when I see the numbers like really off, like doesn't make sense at all, I try to include that new wholesaler into the powerhouse so I can show them the right way. And even if they don't ever sell me the house, I don't mind it. I'm never asking for anything in return. I just want to make sure they're doing it right.
For sure.
Yeah, but overall, man, like, you're good on the phone. You can talk, you can ask questions. I can tell that you're a little bit new on not on like the phone call, but newer to having live conversations like this.
Mhm.
And then same thing when it was time to close, I was able to notice that closing is something that hasn't really happened for you just yet, just by the questions you weren't asking me or already assuming,
Okay.
You did a great
Okay,
job, bro.
I appreciate it, man.
No problem, brother. What's up, anybody else? We got Sam, Michael, Claudia, Dan, Casey. I know Josh is in a training right now. Does anybody want to jump up? Or Q&A? How do you guys feel?
I do have a Q&A right there, but only if no one else has anything to say.
I was going to ask a question, if that's okay.
Sure. Who's the question for, Michael or Sean? I mean, for me or Sean?
Well, one part was about the call itself. I was going to say, like, when you find out that they're renting it with tenants, would it be a good idea to ask about lease, how long the lease is and what the rent looks like?
Yeah, so there's a lot of, it would have taken me a long time to get Sean out with like all the check marks to do, but that's what happens while you get a role play. So you start to get familiar with questions. Yes, you would ask them, are they on a lease, or month to month? What are they currently paying? Okay. Do you have a mortgage? What are you currently paying on that mortgage? You want all that information. You want all that information because that's all into play. Sometimes you have a good tenant that has a lease for 6 more months, and and the homeowner wants to sell though. So you can still lock it up, but you have to lock it up with that tenant for 6 months. And when you sell it to an end buyer, he has to be open to taking the tenant for 6 months.
Got it. Okay.
And then you have another question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about I talked to a seller. I was just texting him back and forth, and he was selling his house for 366, and its ARV is somewhere between there and 400. And he has tenants in there, but their lease is up in 5 weeks, and they're moving out, and it's below rent rates. He could up it by $400, and he was looking to sell the house and then pay off his mortgage and then use the rest to 1031 into a multifamily. And I so I knew he wasn't like super motivated. He was just trying to see what he could get as like a cash sell. He has money set aside that he can put into a multifamily. He just wanted to sell the house for extra, for like a down payment. But he was curious about creative terms. And so I was trying to underwrite it with him to make it, see if he would be interested in it. But he had a few questions that I couldn't quite answer.
So a good thing when working with the homeowner is always to find out the reason why they want to sell.
Mhm.
And because in a scenario when you go creative financing, remember that let's put yourself in a position if you were selling your home, and in all reality, whenever you decide to sell, you'd most likely want to get all cash from a cash buyer. And if not, you would rather list it because the one who's going to buy your house is going to get a mortgage. That mortgage is still going to write you a check for the balance. So you still get cashed out either way.
Yeah.
Now, like when you qualify a lead by motivation, timeline, condition, and price, right? Because that right there will tell you that they're going to be able to work with us, our business model.
Yeah.
You find that out. And you find out right away that, your cash number is not going to work. Like, you got to be strong enough, obviously, to be firm and know when your numbers don't work. It's okay to let them know that, hey, I'm going to rule myself out as a cash buyer. I can't do this on cash, but it doesn't rule me out from buying it completely. And when I get into that part, I then tell them this, because there's typically a few other ways that you want to qualify if they can sell it or keep it themselves before you pitch creative. And the reason why is because of the reason I told you, that they would rather sold it cash, or the reason they'd rather list it. So the scenario after I rule myself out in cash, the next step I do is I ask them, why wouldn't you just list this?
Yeah.
You find out that they'd rather list it, so then you don't waste your time anymore. Or you find out they don't want to pay the fees, and they don't want people coming in and out of their house. Got you. Okay. So I can't buy cash. You don't want to list it. So why don't you just keep this out, put some more money into it, and just cash flow it? You find out I don't have any money. You find out that's what I'm going to do. So then the deal's done. Or you find out because I live 4 or 5 hours away and I'm tired. So now, it's a little bit easier for you to pitch creative because you ruled out cash, you ruled out listing it, you ruled out why don't you keep it. Now we have opportunity.
Got it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, Mike. Sean, you said you had a question?
Yeah, I posted it in here. I'm just trying to get a recommendation. One of the sub team members had posted a list of 10K leads that probably need to be cold called. And so I was just trying to figure out what your recommendation is on trying to handle that 10,000. I'll just be honest, I'm not trying to do that on my own sort of, or maybe me personally, because I don't want to to me, it can be a waste of time because I have to go through all of those just to try to qualify them. So I was just wondering anybody's recommendations on that.
Right. Does anybody have recommendations? Michael or Dan, Casey, Claudia, Sam.
Yo,
What's up, G?
what up, though?
Not much. Sean had a question. He says, how would you recommend calling 10,000 leads? Or Sean, is there a different way you'd verbalize it?
No, yeah, that's it.
What would be the best way to get a whole bunch of leads to call?
To get the leads to call or to call them?
Sean, what
Yeah,
what
to
is
call them, to try to knock out the 10,000. Like, I just personally don't want to use my time
I
to
would just,
call.
I would get Batch Dialer, upload them in Batch Dialer, and let the dialer dial through them and only connect you with voices. And once you prove that process yourself, then hire a VA to do that for you.
You
That's
said
a good
once
one.
you prove that yourself. What do you mean? Sorry.
So like after you've used the dialer to get a couple sales locked up and prove that you can just duplicate that process, I would just have a VA call through those leads for me and only get me on the phone with the motivated people.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I
But
agree.
Batch Dialer is the sauce, bro. They have a free
Okay.
trial too.
So
That is
I do agree with that, right? If you don't want to personally do the calling yourself, because it does take time.
Yeah.
One thing you can do, grab a dialer. You can get the proof in the pudding with Call Tools, Batch Dialer. I think there's a few other ones. And you can either get some deals first and fund a VA, or get a VA right away if you're cash handy. That's how you avoid doing it yourself.
Okay.
In a scenario where you don't have cash and you're not fluid to do that, then you cold call yourself, right? Or the next step would be get really, really good on the phones.
Mhm.
Let other people know that you're good on the phones, right? Bring that value and have somebody work your leads. I have all the time, I have a lot of people that come into my DMs that are asking me to work with me, and can I call your leads and just be by your side and you walk me through the steps, and I don't even have my own leads. I thought, okay, I can link you. I mean, I have a whole bunch of leads, but I'm already partnering with the people bringing them to me or paying them already, So I don't want to get this guy extra involved on it. But there's like 5 or 6 people, and there's already there's a few podios that I run, a few CRMs that I run, that I already coach another student to run them. And then I'm just there to close anything that they can't close, and I oversee all of them and get paid from them. And
Okay.
so in this scenario, if you want to leverage yourself, the way you leverage yourself is you bring value, and you have somebody who has the time and is looking to learn from somebody who knows what they're doing, and then you have them work with you.
Okay.
I have people that I could probably link you with. The thing is, when you do that, you want to game plan with them, right? You want to be able Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, have a little group text between you guys, chat, pump them up, help them out with anything they need. It's a leadership role on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the ways to do it. How I did it was, like I said, I brought a lot of value I can close. I put it out there, was willing to show others. And then in return, when people got stuck down the road, they called me, said, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? That's where I've been so far.
Okay. Okay. No, that's good.
No problem. Anybody else? What, Casey?
Said Carlos is the realest. Fucking blessing over here you are, bro.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. How do we feel, guys? You guys have any more Q&A? I know that we finished this up in 15 minutes, so another role play probably is not enough time. Nah, we could wrap this one up early, guys. I think that's what we'll do.